Namaste, I'm Sree Lata Shankar. In a Leadership Talk series in collaboration with Mystartup TV, my guest today is Dr. Ashish Mittal. He's the Group CHRO for Sreenidhi Group of Education. Ashish, wonderful having you. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Sree Lata.
You joined back Sreenidhi as the Group CHRO, and you also come with the corporate experience. Can you please talk to our audience about your career right from your graduation?
Oh, wow, that's interesting, Sree Lata. So, yes, I studied from Christ College in my HR certificate from IIM Bangalore, Masters from Southern Hampshire University. So, for the first 10 years of my life, I worked as head of public relations with the Sree Lata Foundation, which is Asia's biggest midday meal program, feeding food to economically for 1.9 million economically challenged children every single day. So, right from genesis of the project, and that was very close to my heart. For the first 10 years of my life, I was a volunteer service. And that's where from the Sree Lata I moved on to Infosys. I was heading unit of 2,000 employees across the unit. And I worked in the hardcore corporate sector. After that, switched over to the education sector, moved to as head of HR at Manipal International University of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And after I moved to subsequently Sreenidhi University with Sreenidhi Education Group, for a very short stint with the Plain University at Pune, and then back to Sreenidhi Education Group, heading on their entities.
So, in the Infosys tenure that you worked with, what was your role? And the Philippines that you spoke about, what was the college name or university name?
Sure. At Malaysia, the name of the university was Manipal International University.
Right.
That was
part of the Manipal Group in India.
Group from India, that's right. And coming down to my role at Infosys, I was the lead VP HR, business partner HR, for a unit called Technology Solution Optimization. So we had about multiple DCs employees spread all over, right from Bangalore, Mangalore, Mysore, Trivandrum, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune, Bhubaneswar, Gurgaon, Jaipur.
So you have been totally in HR, like me.
Hardcore HR, that's right.
Right. So you have been in the corporate sector and then moved to the education sector. What made you move to the education sector?
It's a very interesting question. So, in any successful journey in the corporate stint, we talk about leadership, we focus on leadership, we focus on performance, we focus on building a strong culture. So, the lessons which I learned from the corporate world were huge. And what really struck me was that just I being a leader is not enough. The opportunity to impact a large number of lives, that's very important that you get in the education sector. That's point number one. Point number two, the opportunity to influence the young minds at a younger age before the habits get hardened. That's point number two. Again, you get an opportunity to interact with students across the globe. Point number three is today, if you've seen the article last week, there's a lot of layoffs happening. Microsoft announced layoff of 3.6% with about 6,300 employees. We had United Parcel Service, about 12,000 employees, Dell, and you name it, and it goes on. So what I understand is there's a huge mismatch between the skill set,
right,
between what is expected at the industry versus what is being churned out at the universities today.
Right.
So I thought it's a wonderful opportunity for me to integrate the real life experiences, the expectation of the industry, bridge the skill gap between the academia and the corporate. So that's the reason why I chose to be to kind of get back into the education space, because it gives me an opportunity, and also to create a kind of workforce which is ready to work on the day one. Today in corporate world, we talk about first day, first hour productivity. In other words, plug in and play.
Right.
My boss said, Ashish, there is no time for training and everything.
Right.
Because on billable roles, we are working on thin margins. Client has
cost cutting.
Client has a lot of expectations. So that's the reason where I thought that it's a wonderful opportunity for me to bring the best practices of the corporate sector into the education industry.
Sure.
But the education sector is evolving. Today, if you look at statistics, we have 1,160 universities in India. again, it's a different ballgame altogether. Working in the education space versus corporate sector. So the opportunity to create an impact, to make more of a process-driven approach, I think the ground is, the opportunity is vast to create an impact over here. So that's the reason I chose to move into the education sector.
So lots of questions that you has come to my mind based on what you just said. First and foremost is I would like to use the word mold than influence. But having said that, and you also spoke about getting the students corporate ready. While a lot of institutes, colleges are doing their bit, I still think, because I also teach management, HR and management colleges, there is a lot of skill gap. They're not corporate ready. So while some of the colleges are doing the campus to corporate orientation, they're still not ready to face the corporate world, if I may use that word face. So there is a skill gap, KSA, knowledge, skill and adaptability. So what are your thoughts on how colleges should ensure that the students, while they may get 80-90% and ensure that 100% placement, or at least they say so, but they're not skill ready or corporate ready? What are your thoughts?
So actually this drills me much, much deeper at the national level.
Sure.
Today when we talk about our GER, which stands for Gross Enrollment Ratio, it is only 28.4%.
Okay.
We're talking about India, which became the world's highest populated country with 1.4 billion population.
Or more even.
Yes. Secondly, we were just talking last week, India surpassed as the fourth global economic power with our GDP of $4.18 trillion. First being the US, China, Germany took over Japan, and now India is taking over Japan. India with 1.4 billion population with a GDP of $4.18 trillion, and we are sitting at a gross enrollment ratio of just 28.4%. So which means if India has to become a developed nation, we need to ensure that more of our citizens, more of our students are educated.
Right.
Because today India is a country where more than 50% of our population is below the age of 25. And more than 65% of our population
35.
is below the age of 35. So if you have to strike a demographic dividend, which basically means when your working population, size of working population is more than your size of non-working population. So if you have to strike a demographic dividend, we need to ensure that we need to invest on human capital.
True.
Otherwise, it could become a demographic liability for our country.
Right.
So this brings to a question. This actually brings us back that how do we do this? The point is, gone are the days of bookish knowledge. Today we're talking about Gen Zs. We're talking about organizations which are even saying we're going for skill-based hiring rather than degree-based hiring.
Right.
You have the skill, I have a job for you. There's another article on Economic Times saying the Gen Zs are reconsidering, do I really need to do my graduation because there is AI in everywhere. And the huge layoffs happening, and you see the Goldman Sachs report, say that more than 300 million full-time jobs are going to be impacted by generative AIs, where ChatGPT is only just one of them. So with this massive changes happening, it's important for the students and academicians to understand the current trends. Like if you see the report of Gartner, which says that more than 85% of the jobs, I repeat, more than 85% of the jobs which will be there in 2030 don't exist as of today.
Right.
So there's no point of doing Control C and Control V of talking about the past. And today we are sitting at a stage, we don't even know the next 5 years what jobs will be there. Just like 10 years back, nobody dreamt the Olas and Ubers of the world. They kind of changed the entire transportation industry.
Right. I agree to what you mentioned, but I'll go back to my question as to the students are not, while they may finish their graduation or PG, they come up with 85-90%, which is fantastic, but they're not yet corporate ready. When I say corporate ready, is not in the context of just their domain, but how are they adapting themselves to the corporate world. Second is, let's say, for example, you and me teach HR in a couple of colleges. So when I teach HR, they're all very, very smart. They all understand the concepts. They all get good scores. But are they corporate ready? No, they are not. What are the colleges doing, and what's your thoughts on that?
So the point over here is the college have to understand, the students have to understand that bookish knowledge will not sell anymore. They have to have more of experiential knowledge, just like the AEP 2020. It's just that I should just not know that this is a mic. It's not just mechanics of it. I should know how to use this.
Right.
So the point is have more internships, have more practical experiences, so the students actually understand what's happening in the industry. Point number one. Point number two, when the universities are designing their curriculum, have the industry experts
True.
who will tell them what's relevant in today's concept, in today's context, what is required in the industry. So you better teach that so that students become employable.
True.
So with the curriculum being redesigned and being relooked, with the students being given internship opportunities and encouraging students to take part in social conferences, networking, so that they understand they're more related to the current context rather than being sitting in the four walls of classroom. So these concepts, and secondly, another important aspect is the attitude. Where are the colleges and the universities teaching? So in every session, I encourage students to actively take part in sports because sports will not build your character, actually build your character.
True.
Things like discipline, integrity, are taught
Teamwork,
feedback, teamwork, resilience. Today, so many students have depression, counselors, psychologists, taking pills. But if you compare that population to the population of people who are active in sports, and the statistics will answer all the questions.
Absolutely. You rightly pointed out very, very salient points. One is, student depression, and young students, 15, 16-year-olds are on depression. I didn't know what is the meaning of depression at 15 years. I still don't know. When I say I still don't know, I definitely know the meaning of it. But what I'm saying is, you and I do not succumb to depression, whatever the situation may be, health or economic or losing a job or whatever, or losing a family member. And that's going through very, very tough times, yet you overcome it. So these students or these youngsters, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, are succumbing to pressure. So what are your thoughts on that?
So
pressure, I think, is artificial pressure that they're creating for themselves.
I would kind of strongly support it. I mean, like for example, I'm just a quote. The values, I kind of picked up first during my days in NCC, National Credit Corps, where we talk about discipline, we talk about leadership, we talk about nation first thinking, we talk about duty.
Right.
The point is that if the foundation of our students is strong, trust me, these things will not make an impact. But if your upbringing and foundation is a bit weak, then there's plethora of scope for all such things. So I think when the students dovetail their time in the right direction, more productive use, okay? For example, I'd say you should not be, technology should not be using you, you should use the technology. Now everything starts and probably ends with self-discipline. If you know what to eat, what not to eat, how do you spend your time management, self-discipline, these values in you will actually shape your entire personality.
Absolutely. You also mentioned about curriculum being changed, and today, unfortunately, at least in India, I don't know about the other countries, in India, we are using the same curriculum which was obsolete, which has become obsolete, was existing 30, 40 years back. Like you mentioned, curriculum has to be changed. What are the various things that curriculum has to be changed, not just in the management colleges, but right from your primary school?
So, for example, I would say today we're talking about AI. There's hype AI.
I will also add that our culture and our history has to be rewritten.
Absolutely. I mean, today when we talk about a lot of lessons to be learned from Ramayana, a lot of lessons to be learned from Mahabharata, we have seen the India-Pak war. I mean, so many kind of short stories coming on Instagram, like go fight with your duty, So the point is that a lot of lessons, values which actually the parents and the society should be sharing with our students as education institutions. I mean, you can pick it up in any religion because every religion talks about respecting the understanding the Almighty without. So I would say in terms of curriculum, revamping is one thing is in terms of attitude first, very important. Today, if you look at freshers, they just want higher salary with least possible job. 2-3 hours of job and I want a very fat salary. Coming late, being lazy, dedication, commitment, ethics are a big question mark today. And these things have to be taught right from school. That's one number from from a behavioral aspect. Second, from a curriculum aspect, AI is no longer a vertical, it's a horizontal cutting across all the industries. We saw China, they are launching AI for as old as LKG, minimum 8 hours to be taught in the entire academic year. So I would say if we do not integrate AI in all the fields, we have seen Bill Gates' prediction, right, about 3 weeks back. He predicted that there will be 2 professions which will be out very shortly. The teachers and the doctors. And he has given us time is just in less than a decade's time. He also predicted that most of the jobs will be taken over by humans. Most of the jobs will be taken over by AI. There will be very less jobs left for humans. We are fighting for 5 days, 6 days week work, 5 day week work. Bill Gates said very shortly we have 2 days week of work. Because when it's about data processing, about data analysis, about digital marketing, everything is going to be taken over by AI.
But having said that, Ashish does not definitely mean to scare you. He does not mean to say that you will not have a job. He's just saying that you have to be technology upgraded, upskill, and tech friendly. So when he's talking about AI and giving data of people losing jobs, is not that everybody is going to lose a job, everybody is going to not have a job, but yes, you'll have to upgrade yourself. And that applies to both Ashish and me as well, with 20 plus years of experience. So technology, as you mentioned, is constantly changing. Also, students and professionals, including senior professionals, have to upgrade, upskill, reskill constantly. That is kind of missing. So what do you say?
So, see, there's a huge role.
There's a huge gap as well.
In terms of upskilling and reskilling, because if you take the average shelf life of a skill, we have the tech skill and the non-tech skill. The average shelf life of a non-tech skill has reduced from 5 years to 3 years. The average shelf life of a tech skill has reduced from 3 years to 1 year. So if Ashish as an individual wants to ensure that I have employment throughout my journey, the only way to foolproof is to upskill and reskill.
Right.
If you take one of the recent reports, again, this is by World Economic Forum, which says that by 2026, more than 25% of the global population will be spending minimum 1 hour on the metaverse. Which means you will be learning, you will be socializing, you will be making friends, you will be dating, everything will happen on the metaverse. So the point is, the world is changing, technology is changing, and so should we, as individuals, as students, as teachers, as facilitators.
Right. Most of my audience, Ashish, is about 70% of them are students and young professionals. And I say young professionals can be 0 to 5 years, 7 years experience. So what are your 3 salient points that you would like to advise them as to how to build a career?
So most important is, first of all, ask yourself, where is that fire in the belly? What do you really want to become? Because today, when I've spoken to many youngsters, most of them remain confused. I've taken more than 10 lakhs interviews, and I found students doing engineering, landing up in HR jobs, or doing, say, multiple, and the job they land will be
completely different. Yeah.
Between what they're actually studying.
So I've known aeroscience engineering students doing SAP HR.
Absolutely. And today we know how with the NEP the STEM has converted into STEAM. We talk about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and arts has been integrated so that we have an interdisciplinary aspect also in every student. So I would say it's important that every student first ask the question, what do you really want to become? Because most of them are confused and lost. Unlike our times, where it was pretty simple, where the market was plethora of options to choose from. I'm sure many parents are themselves confused. What should my child study? And if it is one particular domain, what should be the other domains? And we are all lost. Cross borders. So I would say the ownership to decide should predominantly be on a student. Whether it be he or she who has to build up their career.
Right.
Ask yourselves this question, have a reflection, talk to a lot of industry experts, talk to people who are experts from different domains, different industries, and also do a proper analysis of what is the market value of the course of the stream which you are pursuing. The point is, today you might be planning that I want to do something X, but if you do a bit of analysis and research, which may say that X is going to calculate in the next 2-3 years. So do that, a proper research, take proper guidance, but take a database decision. This is a strong message which I would like to say. Take a database decision, consult senior mentors from industries, talk to them, look at the trends, and then map it in what's a file in the belly. That will actually help you to understand and where you want to pursue your career. And also try to understand where strengths and opportunities of development are. It's not only about academics today, we talk about multiple intelligence theory.
True.
Someone may be good art, music, dance, why not?
Absolutely. What's your third point?
So the third point I would say have the concept of lifelong learning. It's very important and which applies to each one of us. It's not that gone are the days I studied and that education would help me to earn money throughout my life. So as a human being, you can learn from housekeeping, security, from top to bottom anyone. If we have this most important ingredient of lifelong learning, trust me, you will become a much better leader.
Right. I will add to what Ashish just mentioned is while it's perfectly all right to change careers, mid-career, I mean after 7-8 years of experience from HR to finance, HR to technology, but don't keep jumping jobs, which, don't keep jumping jobs, don't keep jumping careers. Today, youngsters, as you rightly pointed out, they want everything in a jiffy. Also, when they're confused, like you rightly said, is they don't know which path to go. Hey, HR, I've joined HR. I want the thing they say is, I'm joining HR because I like to interact with people. And I always say that's the most wrong way of getting into the department. It's not work for me in HR. I want to move into something else. Hey, Ashish is my classmate. He has taken technology. He's earning some 10 lakhs and I'm stuck with 2 lakhs. So I want to move into technology. So what do you tell them to the ones who are not just confused, but who want to aspire to be like an Ashish because he's earning 10 lakhs, who was my classmate, but he's not putting in efforts?
So yes, many students want a 2 minutes Maggie noodle shortcut approach. I would say when you're looking at successful leaders,
it's taken them a long time to be there.
The due diligence of doing the homework. Trust me, every person has gone through ups and downs. A lot of challenges, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sleepless nights, burning the midnight oil, sacrificing of the health, family, time management, your multiple aspects. You're only looking at the rosy picture, the final product, the final food which is being served on the platter. But you're not going into depth of the hard work, determination, dedication, passion which has gone through to make the product. So I would request all the students that when you're looking at a leader, when you want to become like him or her, it's perfectly all right. Look at Vyomika Singh, right? We have seen our 2 great women leaders who are saved our lives.
And Sophia Qureshi,
And Sophia Qureshi, who was an NCC cadet. Look at the sacrifices. Nobody can say, I want to become like her. You can be like her, you can become. But your actions, your investment has to be done accordingly. So if you take these steps, sky is not the limit.
True.
You can be much more higher than the existing leaders.
True.
The point is go in a very systematic, scientific, database-driven approach. Take baby steps, slow and steady. The moment you try to jump the gun, there will be a misfire.
Absolutely. I will also add that it's like I mentioned, it's perfectly all right to change careers, but be very clear as to what you want to do. Like I started off my career in back-end operations and moved to HR. And I knew what I want to be in HR. And the last 20 plus years, 21 years has been in HR. But, don't keep jumping jobs or changing careers because somebody else is earning a lot more money or somebody else is going abroad and not you. My next question is, while you're talking about leaders and leadership, how does a student or a young professional aspire to be a leader? What are the 3 or 4 capabilities skills, attitude, persona to change or to build to become a leader?
First of all, Sree, the desire to become the leader has to be within. The push has to be within, not from out. Ashish has to have the focus that I want to become a leader. I want to make an impact. I want to be the change agent. If I don't have the fire, it makes no difference. 100 more people may say me, it makes absolutely no difference. So I would say some of the important qualities of leadership would be discipline being number 1, determination, passion, perseverance, resilience. How quickly can come back from failures? Because sometimes many students, when a lot of interviews I've taken, they say, Ashish, I had a setback. It took me 6 months to come back. While we talk about leadership and empathy, I do understand. But somewhere I ask this question myself, that our country has lost an individual 6 months of time. Had she or he been kind of guided properly, that 6 months would have been just a week or 15 days. So the quality of resilience is equally important. So I would say discipline, I would say leadership, I would say ethics.
Yes.
Are playing a very important role.
Yes.
Today we are seeing ultimately all the organizations want people, leadership or ethics. We do not want people who manipulate data, fudge numbers, or cheat or trick. We don't want such kind of people. You may be number 1 competent, but if your behavioral skills are not good, it doesn't make sense to me.
And team management. While you have grown in the hierarchy, team management is so much more important. You can't throw your weight around. You can't show your attitude around. You have to kind of lower yourself or bring down yourself to their level to ensure that they climb the ladder. And also, don't boast about yourself. It's about your team.
Absolutely. You see, gone are the days we call it IC roles in corporate language. We call it individual contributor roles and team players. So the IC roles are more or less kind of, just being minimum. Today, I would say that the IC roles don't exist because today you have to collaborate with teams, with cross-functional teams to do your job.
Supervisors, juniors, everybody.
So for which you need interpersonal skills, skills. These are very important. And today we know the Harvard study which mentioned that the impact of non-verbal communication versus verbal communication. The impact of non-verbal communication is 93%.
Right.
And the impact of verbal communication is 7%. Now this statistic, this numbers answers a lot. The way you communicate, the way your body language is. Today, many employees talk about appraisals, increments. The way you go and ask your boss makes a difference. Apart from your work, you go and start demanding, commanding is a different answer. There's a different response from your boss. But when you put it very nicely, when you politely, with data and facts, with the right tone and pitch, the response would be much positive from your supervisor.
Right. So moving on from the corporate world to the government sector. When I say the government sector, I specifically want to talk about Operation Sindoor. And I'm being apolitical. I'm not speaking about any political party per se. But I would like you to highlight in the fact that 26/11 happened, we did not do anything. Pulwama, Balakot happened, we did something. And the Operation Sindoor. So in terms of leadership, decisiveness, if I need to just mention BJP and Modi government has done a fantastic job. You may like him, may not like him, that's a secondary issue. But what are your thoughts on the fact that these are the leadership skills that one should develop? Taking the Operation Sindoor as the backdrop.
See, I would say India has done a fantastic
Absolutely.
job, phenomenal
Absolutely.
jobs in terms of taking the right decision at the right time.
You need to be a decisive leader.
Absolutely. In 23 minutes, India gunned down 9 air
Terrorist
bases
camps.
of terrorist camps. And today, India is the only country which has done that without crossing the LOC.
Mm.
So I think the guts to take the decisions with decisiveness, with the right spirit, and ensuring that considering the larger society as well, we are not without harming the civilians.
Collateral damage is less. Yes.
Almost negligible.
Absolutely.
The impact versus the collateral damage, there's no comparison today what has been done by Mission Sindoor. So I think the steps taken by Modi, Honorable Prime Minister Modi, are extremely, no words to thank him, and a lot of lessons to be learned. Like for example, it says that you should you should really voice your opinion when it comes. Don't sit at the back. Today, Modi ji has told that वहाँ से गोली फेंकेंगे हम यहाँ पे गोला फेंकेंगे because there is no room for terrorism. It's nothing to do with Pakistan. It's something to do with terrorism. No country should be breeding terrorism. So the kind of decisions we have taken are terrific, good, and spot on. I would say a lot of leadership lessons to be learned. And again, we talk about.
Give me 3.3 leadership lessons or points that we can learn from Operation Sindoor or from Mr. Modi.
Yeah, so I would say in terms of decision making, it's very easy to say, go release the missiles, start the war on.
When to do it.
The decision to hold on and take it at the right time.
And catch the enemy when he's sleeping.
Yes. Today Modi said, one more attack on India and you will face the music. India follows the policy of no first. We are not going to start, we are not going to initiate. But somebody attacks us, we are not going to sit quietly.
Even then, we only targeted the terrorist camps and the air bases. We did not kill civilians like they do.
Absolutely. They targeted at schools, colleges,
Gurudwara.
Golden Temple Gurudwara, which is...
Not Golden Temple, Gurudwara.
Yeah, Gurudwara. This is very ridiculous. So the point is the intentions are very clear.
Right.
What is the intention of Pakistan versus what is the intention of India? And today I think India has set up a global map, the global practices to be followed. I actually just commented that if every country in the world follows India's rule, where there is no room for terrorism, the world will become a much better place for every person to live in.
Right.
So I talk about leadership, I talk about decision making, I talk about, I think, teamwork. Today, the Army, Naval and the Air Force didn't work together.
And also trust.
Plus, we saw how INS Vikrant went, at the right time. We had our Rafales, we had our Army, everything, teamwork was perfect. So there are a lot of lessons to be learned. I said teamwork, discipline, leadership. There are some of the very few things which I can say. And look at all our leaders. There's a fire in the belly without expecting anything in return. Where is the quality of nation first being taught in institutions today?
True.
I would strongly urge that every corporate, every sector, school, college, university should instill these values in the students because they are the future of our Bharat tomorrow.
And I think our curriculum, every student should have at least 6 months of army training.
100% yes, like how Singapore does and other countries do it. And that's the reason today, we have started off a civilian
Agnivir.
Agnivir initiative we saw. And now I think we saw an article where more than 300,000 people volunteered in Chandigarh to be part of the civilian Air Force, to be a civilian army.
So these, some of the skills that we have learned from the Operation Sindoor is tremendous. In fact, a lot of skills, not some, a lot of skills. Moving on, Ashish, what do you envisage for your future? And what are your thoughts on how students can shape a better life for themselves?
So I think students can shape the better life for themselves because academically today everybody is strong. So what differentiates
between you and the other person?
Yes, today for example, I'm taking interviews. They have a pipeline of candidates between 90 to 95%. We have 2 jobs, 100 candidates. So how do I differentiate who are the 2 right fit? We because academics are done. I don't have to question or grill them about it. But where it comes into a differentiator is your attitude. Because in HR we say we can always train for competencies, but we cannot translate a human brain with the right attitude.
Right.
I would say that every student should have the right attitude, which will actually complement your academic knowledge,
Right.
which will help you to blend to be a overall better performer in today's context. So that's the thing which I would like to highlight today.
I'll add to what you just mentioned is apart from your attitude, of course, skills has to be developed, not go by just the curriculum, what is being taught, but also add on to the skills. It could be technology, it could be advanced HR, because colleges teach only few things in HR. You need to learn a lot more, like HR analytics, how does PMS work, how does KRA work, and things like that. My next question is, what are your future thoughts and what do you plan to do in future for yourself?
Yeah, so as you know that currently I'm the group CHRO of Sreenidhi Education Group. I intend to actually create a huge impact in the not only the education sector, but in the youngsters of our country, wherein I act as a catalyst to ensure we have a much better leaders for the future. Leaders who have the option to understand, take experiences of seasoned leaders. So when we have the sharing of knowledge with the youngsters, when we have the academic knowledge and the attitude being blended together, we create a better population of our country. We create better future leaders for our country. We will create a better ready-made workforce for the corporates.
Right. Do you plan to write a book? What I think we spoke on that front. So what are your thoughts? When is the book coming up?
Yeah, well, it's deep in my thought. I've started some groundwork, but let me spill the beans when it's ready.
Okay.
So that's the way I've always been approaching throughout my life. I first do it and then announce it.
Right.
Or vice versa, yeah.
Right. Going back to one of our previous points that we mentioned, is students today are succumbing to pressure. They're also committing suicide. When I say students, it could be even young professionals. A classic case of the coffee day. This gentleman was well into his 40s and he could not take the pressure and he was undergoing many losses and he committed suicide. Whereas his wife, when she took over, she understood where are the plug loopholes or centers which was not making money. She closed it down and she's made a huge profit today. So what would you say to youngsters who are committing suicide? Second is, how do you overcome failure? Because for you will agree with me, failure is just a stepping stone.
Absolutely. So I would say to the youngsters that suicide is just, it should not be part of a dictionary at all. It should not exist.
Absolutely.
And I think, and again, I would actually go back to my point where I would urge students to actively take part in sports. Because
or any creative side. I will also add not just sports, but it could be like I'm not a sports person at all, but I do painting. It could be anything. It could be painting, dancing, sketching, singing. Get into some creative side, and it can open avenues. It can be a game changer for yourself.
you're absolutely right. The point is, all our colleges, universities, schools tell you have to become number one, you have to be top five. We teach our students how to be on top, always, but we do not teach our students how to face failures.
Face life, yeah.
Facing failures, you learn practically on the playground. Like for example, you're playing a badminton match.
Only one person will win.
Yes, it's a well-known fact, right? But the point is, when you start playing sports every single day, you learn to take a setback in a very positive way, which has a direct impact on the entire personality.
Right.
Tomorrow, as a student, or as a business leader or a corporate leader, when you have failure, you're able to face it with guts, with a very positive attitude. It could be a personal failure as well. Someone losing their spouse, losing their children, anything can happen. The point is, as I said, apart from academics, it can be arts, music, dance, theatre, anything whichever you like.
But build those skills.
build those skills,
Right.
invest in them, so that you are able to see yourself very confidently tomorrow.
Also, it opens avenues to so many other aspects,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
My last few questions to you. When I say we, India as a country, we have been speaking about 5 trillion economy. What are your thoughts on that? And how do we reach the 5 trillion economy?
Yes. Today our trillion is our GDP is 4.18 trillion. We've recently with Japan, and our goal is by 2047 at least try to be, if not number 3, the world's second global economic power. And that is possible when we have more universities, more colleges, so that we talk about UN Sustainable Development Goals. Today, how many of our students, as I mentioned earlier, statistics, GDP of our gross enrollment ratio is 27.4%, which means there are only 3 students who are getting access to education today out of 10. So that's the reason we say the EDP has also encouraged more setting up of more universities, colleges. More students get educated. The more the number of students get educated, there is more employment, there is more contribution to the GDP. That's where our country will become the global's world's number 1 power, beating China and the US. So I would say invest in your human capital, academics, ethics, attitudes, skill sets. Rest will be taken care of.
Got it. But apart from education, like you rightly said, yes, investment in education is the foremost thing. Apart from education, as a government, irrespective of which government it is, how do you think India can reach 5 trillion?
So I would say India can reach 5 trillion economy when we encourage, for example, Make in India. We try to invite a lot of foreign investments into our country.
More export.
Like Modi said, India should not be just, we should be more of a job creator, right? We should look at an era where people from across the globe are planning to fly down to India to work, and should not be a talent drain, like how it's happening today. A lot of
brain drain, yeah.
The brain drain happening, planning people go to the US and UK and parts of the world. Why? If the entire intelligence is kept in India, so it will be a reverse engineering concept where people from other parts of the globe come over here and work. And definitely India will reach 5 or 8 or 10 trillion. It has the potential, it has a capability. Just that we need to ensure that again the government should provide the right infrastructure.
Right.
I was reading going through a small reel late last night, how the international airport at Guwahati is going to compete with the international airport of Bangalore, which nobody even dreamt. We were just going through a reel last night. So these kind of developments in all industries across all sectors, defense, education, retail, pharma,
manufacturing. Yeah.
If all the sectors we do this investment and development and training of our human resource, India is sure to become a global power.
One last question. Ashish, my last question to you is, what do you plan to do for your future, and what are your future goals?
So my goal is to be a leader wherein, again, I've invested a lot of time in the education sector. Also, I just recently completed my PhD in January.
That's congratulations to you.
2025. Thank you so much for that. So I intend to be in the education sector because this gives me an opportunity to interact with the young minds, to be as a catalyst in terms of making the future leaders. I intend to be in the education sector. I intend to be a change agent where we can try to create more better citizens for our country, not only academics but also in terms of nation first, in terms of ethics, in terms of values. So that's my future plans.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.